Sakai watches in dismay as every single bomb crashes harmlessly into the ocean.
It was obviously stupid to try and hit moving ships from 4 miles up. I could not understand the failure to use torpedoes which had proved so effective in the past.
After the failure of their mission, the Japanese bombers turn around for the long journey home. Disappointed that they have not hit a single ship, Sakai is desperate to shoot down an enemy aircraft. As he searches for the chubby Grumman-built Wildcats, he spots an extraordinary dogfight several hundred feet below him. It is Pug Sutherland, neatly evading several Zeros. Sakai is amazed at the skill of the Wildcat's pilot.
The Zeros should have been able to take the long Grumman without any trouble. But every time a Zero caught the Wildcat before its guns, the enemy plane flipped away and came out again on the tail of another Zero. I had never seen such flying before.
2 of his assailants are Sakai's wingmen. Seeing how the Wildcat is exploiting their inexperience, Sakai signals that he wants to join the fray. He dives in and fires a burst from long range. Pug immediately retaliates by climbing towards the belly of Sakai's Zero. The historic duel has begun. Sakai tries to throw Pug off, but he matches the Zero turn for turn.
We held to the spiral, tremendous G pressures pushing us down in our seats. A great film seemed to be clouding my eyes.
As the jungle of Guadalcanal rushes towards his fighter, Pug pulls out of the spiral and climbs into a loop. This is a mistake. A Zero easily outturns a Wildcat in such a maneuver.
I went right after him and came out on his tail. I pumped 200 rounds into the Grumman's cockpit, watching the bullets chewing up the thin metal skin and shattering the glass. I could not believe what I saw. The Wildcat continued flying almost as if nothing had happened. A Zero that had taken that many bullets would have been a ball of fire by now.
The Wildcat's manufacturer, Grumman, designed a cockpit that can handle a lot of punishment.
Sutherland was pretty well protected from any stern aspect because this plate goes from almost the top of the canopy clear to the bottom of the cockpit floor.
I was deeply grateful to the manufacturers of the armor plate, for I could hear the steady stream of bullets zinging into it behind me.
That's what Pug Sutherland was hearing, sort of the rattle on the roof of these small caliber rifle bullets.
Such small bullets have little impact on the heavily armored Wildcat.
The forward part of the windscreen has a 3-inch thick segment of laminated glass. It's called armored glass, and that will stop a 7.7 fired from almost any distance. Because of the durability of his airplane, because of the armor plate around his cockpit, and because of the self-sealing gas tanks that prevented catastrophic fires in flight, Sutherland was able to survive against 3 or 4 Zeros.
But the Zero has a much more lethal weapon, a cannon mounted on each wing.
Sakai and some of the more proficient Zero pilots like to use the 7.7s as ranging, and once they were hitting with those, then they haul out this Hummer, which is a 20 millimeter shell.
In order to fill his gun sight for a cannon burst, Sakai accelerates closer to the Wildcat. But he is in for a surprise. Pug is about to put the brakes on.
I slammed the throttle forward just as the enemy fighter lost speed. In the moment, I was 10 yards ahead of the Wildcat, trying to slow down.
Pug has laid his trap well. The Zero is now in his gun sights. Sakai braces himself for the inevitable end.
I hunched my shoulders and prepared for the onslaught of his guns.
Yet nothing happens.
No bullets came. The Wildcat's guns remained silent. The entire situation was unbelievable.
Mysteriously, in that brief, vital moment, Pug Sutherland does not go in for the kill. Was his plane damaged? Were his guns jammed? Or does Pug just fail to pull the trigger for some reason? Sakai could not believe his luck. He immediately takes evasive action to avoid the Wildcat's line of fire. He drew up alongside Pug's plane. Looking across at the American pilot, he sees he is wounded.
Blood stained his right shoulder. I saw the dark patch moving downwards over his chest.
Now it is Sakai's turn to hold fire. For a moment, Sakai hesitates to deliver the coup de grace.
I honestly didn't know whether or not I should try and finish him off. Such thoughts were stupid, of course. Wounded or not, he was the enemy.
Sakai will claim in his memoirs that he deliberately avoided aiming his guns at the pilot. But when Pug jerks the Wildcat into a climb, Sakai knows the plane must be destroyed.
That was it. I aimed carefully at the engine.
A Zero put a burst just under the left wing root. I dove over the right side.
As Pug bails out, his gun is ripped from its holster. He manages to open his parachute less than 400 feet above the jungle canopy. As he falls to earth, he sees his plane explode.